What is going on, everyone, and welcome to WreckTalk. Hope you're having a great day, and it's a great time to be a Georgia Tech Yellow Jacket, coming off a big top 5 victory against number 4 Miami at home last week. Ton of people saw that game, the most electrifying environment I've ever been involved with at a noon game. Obviously, we tear down the goalpost, take them to Cabrera's pool, leave them there, and man, what a time to be alive. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. We've got NC State this Thursday, 7:30 kick on ESPN. I'll be there. C-Dog will be there. We got something kind of special cooked up for that. But NC State, perennial ACC dark horse. And dark horse they remain year after year. They have not been able to get over that hump. And NC State probably should be thankful to Florida State. Otherwise, they would probably be more of the laughing stock of the conference. If you take away FSU, NC State has to be a team that has underperformed their expectations more than anyone else in the ACC. Unfortunately, they get McCall, transfers from Coastal Carolina, has to medically retire due to concussion protocol. So I hate that. The interesting thing is this CJ Bailey is probably a better option. McCall was not playing well at all for them the time that he started. CJ Bailey, a big 6'6" kid. He's a true freshman, has a lot of talent, but he plays like a freshman. We're going to get into it. Georgia Tech, an early favorite in this game, or I shouldn't say early. They're a 9-point favorite in this game. I get it. We're going to look through the stats. It makes sense that Tech is a 2-score favorite going into this game. However, if you've watched Georgia Tech for any length of time, we don't handle being favorites very much. We haven't been favorites very often. We were favored against Syracuse on the road. That didn't go well. Bowling Green last year, etc. Over-under is 52.5, which is, I guess, kind of lower scoring. I would probably take the under. I don't bet, obviously. And I think last week I, did everything I could to demonstrate to you guys that I'm a complete idiot. So we're not even going to talk about the over-under. But NC State can claim or can clinch a bowl berth with this. Now, they have it's not a brutal 2-game stretch, but it's a tough 2-game stretch for how NC State's playing. To make a bowl, they either got to beat Georgia Tech in a night environment at Bobby Dodd on a Thursday night, or they have to go on the road again and beat North Carolina, North Carolina will be favored in that game as well. So it's going to be a good time again. C-Dog and I will be there. Section 106 got something special cooked up for you. Now, interestingly enough, both Georgia Tech and NC State were on a bye going into this game. So NC State doesn't really have a short week going into this. They got a lot of things to look at, for Tech, and they're not an untalented team. There was a reason they were a dark horse, very senior heavy, I believe, on both sides of the ball, minus probably skill positions on offense. But let's just dive into it. First, I'm not going to read through all these stats, but here's the 2024 stats for NC State and Georgia Tech. Now, the story for Georgia Tech is the defense. It is the biggest improvement I've seen on one side of the ball ever. Georgia Tech was ranked 129th in rush defense last year. What are they ranked here? Rush defense, 7th in the country. Or not 7th in the country. 4th in the country, or 4th in the ACC, 16th in the country, only giving up 108 yards a game. It's huge. The other big story is Georgia Tech's getting off the field on third down. On third down defense, 1st in the ACC, 7th in the nation. They're basically getting off the field 7 out of 10 times on third down. And they did it. They got out of field 3 out of 4 against the best offense in the country last week. 4th down against Miami. Third down offense, Georgia Tech's not awful. Obviously, Georgia Tech's offense has taken a step back this year. A lot of that has to do with the injury of Haynes King. Although there have been things that are uncharacteristic of last year's Tech's team that kind of makes you scratch your head. We haven't really been able to run like we've wanted to, especially between tackles. But 7th in the country, or 7th in the ACC, 64th overall, converting about 4 out of 10. Also known as 2/5. Another big turnaround for Tech this year has been turnovers. First in the country in fumble, or tied for first. Only lost one fumble. Turnover margin, 61st. They do have a positive turnover margin. I do think that's going to come to play in this game. If you look at NC State, offensively, it's been a struggle, right? Offensively, 11th in the country, getting off the field, or 11th in the ACC. I'm going to keep doing that. Usually I have ACC and like national written here. Anyways, they're struggling to convert third downs, 90th in the country, and they're struggling to get off the field on third down. 10th in the conference, 41st in the country, 0.352 getting off the field rate. Fumbles lost. This, I think, is the difference in the game, most likely. Georgia Tech should win this game, but Georgia Tech loses a lot of games they should. Fumbles lost. NC State's 124th nationally. They've lost 10 fumbles, 64th interceptions with 8, and they have a negative turnover margin. I think that's been one of the bigger issues for NC State. And obviously, I'm not an expert on NC State's team. I'm not, I haven't watched a ton of NC State football, but it appears they have a turnover issue that probably plays into them having a freshman quarterback. I went back and watched some of the Duke game, and that game started with basically Duke punting, NC State getting pinned on like their own 2, and they run like a read option or an RPO and get a safety. Absolutely brain dead play call there for a true freshman quarterback. So they give up 2 points on offense. Pretty rare you give up points on offense, especially 2, right? You'd have to get a safety for that. And then on the next offensive drive, they fumble. If NC State's going to win this game, they can't be putting the ball on the ground, right? They cannot be putting the ball on the ground. They've struggled defensively too. I mean, total D, they're 75th in the country, 12th in the conference. Total offense, 13th in the conference, 92nd. Nationally, only coming up with about 362 yards a game. Again, I'm not going to read through all these stats. Here are the keys. We talked about the turnover margin. If NC State puts the ball on the ground a lot in this game, Georgia Tech's just going to be able to control the ball or control the time of possession, and they probably win this thing easily. The biggest thing that sticks out is NC State's offense, not very good. There's only one, actually. There's one person in the top 25 in scoring in the conference on NC State's team, and it's their place kicker. Not good when your place kicker is basically your leading scorer. Georgia Tech, on the other hand, has Georgia Tech's defensive numbers might kind of surprise some people. I mean, they're second in the conference, 37th nationally, but they're playing as good a defense as anyone in the country is playing. So I just kind of feel like with this game, Georgia Tech, the other thing is if Georgia Tech can run the ball, this game's over. If Georgia Tech can run ball and manage the time of possession, that's what they're going to do. That's going to be Georgia Tech's game plan. So quick, let's go through some players to watch out for. We'll start with NC State. It seems like they're definitely better on the defensive side. Ton of upperclassmen on that side of the ball. Probably need to look out for linebacker Sean Brown. He's got 3 sacks, averaging about 7 tackles a game. He's a junior, good player for them, good linebacker. We're going to have to keep an eye out for him. Defensive end, Devine Vaughn, good. Senior, 5.5 sacks, 5 forced fumbles, 33 total tackles. So watching the NC State play Duke, they were able Duke has a good running back, and Duke did struggle to run on them. So that's probably one of the key matchups in this game is NC State able to stop Georgia Tech's running attack and basically make them throw, which is really not their forte, especially with a hurt Haynes King. They do have a really good pair of safeties on defense too. Devin Marshall and I guess it's Aiden White. One's a junior, one's a senior. White has 51 total tackles on the year. There are a ton of tackles from the pair of corners for NC State and 3 interceptions between the two of them. That's going to be another key matchup. Georgia Tech loves to run a lot of screens. Haynes King can't throw basically more than 5 yards down the field. So if Haynes King does throw, it's going to be behind the line of scrimmage. These corners appear to be ball hawks as far as stopping the run or making tackles. Can NC State's experienced, talented corners break up a lot of the screen game and force Georgia Tech into throwing downfield more? Be interesting to see. And then offensively, it's all going to come down to CJ Bailey. Big true freshman, 6'6", 1,794 yards, 11 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. Also a completion percentage of 64.5%. Again, very inconsistent with the kid. He's a freshman. He plays like a freshman, but he has talent to beat us. Look, if you're a Georgia Tech fan and you're looking at all this, and we're kind of sniffing our farts from the Miami game, and you think just because we did that, we should come out here and push NC State around, you're absolutely wrong. They have way more to play for in this game than Georgia Tech because they can clinch a bowl berth with this game. They have a bye week, so they have an extra week to prepare. Georgia Tech can lose this game. In fact, if Georgia Tech comes out and turns over the ball, gets back into their old ways with special team snafus, we'll get beat. We'll get beat, and it won't be fun. Shouldn't happen, but Georgia Tech's going to have to come out prepared. Let's talk about game plan. So what will Georgia Tech's game plan be coming into this game? Simple. It's the same game plan they've run. They've tried to run all year. It was successful against Miami. They want to run the ball, and they want to control time of possession, run the ball. Now, I haven't heard anything about Haynes King. Georgia Tech's suffered a plethora of injuries on offense, particularly at running back and tight end. You know, we've had 3 or 4 running backs hurt. We had to bring in Cooley when we probably didn't want to. Last week against Miami, he took a big shot. And in the tight end room, had 3 or 4 injuries in the tight end room as well. I do think, obviously, Haynes King we've talked about his injury. I do think we need Haynes King to win this game. I don't think we're going to be able to just rest Haynes King, and I am fairly confident he'll come out probably starting the game. Now, defensively for Tech, I think you've got to be very, very aggressive. This is what Duke was able to do. Be aggressive and really get this true freshman quarterback off his game. Never allow him to get comfortable. That's going to be the game plan for Georgia Tech. If they can do that against Cam Ward, I'm sure they can do it against NC State and CJ Bailey. What's NC State's game plan going to be? NC State would probably like to come out and establish a run game to give some support to their true freshman quarterback offensively as well. The key is that NC State I don't think can get behind early in this game, like a 2-score deficit. It's probably too much for them to overmount with a Georgia Tech defense that's playing very, very well. But you've got to probably simplify the offense for CJ Bailey, have 5 to 10 go-to plays for him, and call him in the right spots. Definitely don't call a read option or RPO on his own too, right? I still can't believe they did that. Defensively, they're going to want to stack the box. The same game plan everyone should have against Georgia Tech. They're going to want to stack the box, stop the run, and force Georgia Tech to throw. Now, if you're an NC State fan, Georgia Tech's been playing a 2-quarterback system with Haynes King and a true freshman, Aaron Philo. I am almost certain you will see 2 true freshman quarterbacks playing this game, with one being Aaron Philo. Aaron Philo, we talk about it all the time, set the all-time passing record in the state of Georgia out of Prince Avenue, and has played very well. Hit some big throws that were the difference in that game against Miami. So you also, when we put Philo in, if you're NC State, can't let him get all that comfortable as well. You're going to have to get pressure on him. And the other thing for NC State is no turnovers, and you're going to have to flip field with special teams, right? Probably need a block punt would be nice. If you could get Tech and do a special team snafu, that's probably what you're going to need to get a road victory on a Thursday night, even though you do have a bye week. Now, I was under the impression that NC State had recruited very well. So I went and I averaged the past 5 years recruiting class for both of these teams. This is from 247. I wanted to get a sense of is NC State more talented than us? So what I did is I looked at all the recruiting classes and all the portal classes over the past 5 years and got an average. So this is the average over the past 5 years if you take into account transfer, portal classes and recruiting classes. NC State 50th. Georgia Tech 38th. And a lot of that has to do with Georgia Tech's just hit out of the portal a little better than NC State. So Georgia Tech, from what it appears, more talented team. Now, I do think Georgia Tech wins this game. Georgia Tech, again, they're going to run a 2-quarterback system. They're going to want to control time of possession with running Haynes King with read options. And really, even the pass game with Haynes King is an extension of the run. They're going to hit pop passes and try to get the ball to the perimeter with a track star and Eric Singleton Jr. And they're going to want to get their running backs running off tackle as well. As far as score predictions in this game, I do think it's going to be less than 52.5 points. I would think Georgia Tech wins this game probably something like 28-17 or something like that. I think, if NC State's able to score 23 points or more, Tech's in trouble in this game. But I do think Tech covers, and I can't believe I'm saying that. I said I was getting out of the prediction business, and I do think they get the victory in a 7:30 kick, Thursday night game, under the lights, the Atlanta City skyline in the background. Who is that? Hold on. Hello? Man, I thought you were retired, bro. Hell yeah, you can get in the video. Let's go. Oh, Nacho Rick is in the building. Just go to kick without Nacho Rick. He drinks the juice with gin and he'll justify a play in a position that you'd rather not be in. They talk about the loyalty of Bryce Kamalooney to buffoon. You like an LSU, you're not fit at the bottom of macho shoes. We're at the Claremont Lounge, I'm more loyal than you, boo. It's Macho Wreck, y'all! Oh yeah! It's Macho Wreck, y'all! Oh yeah! Macho Wreck, y'all! The cream always will rise to the top! Oh yeah! The NC State Wolfpack, huh? Well, you're playing more like a bunch of ball sacks. My God, 5 wins, perennial ACC title contenders. Well, hopes, thoughts, and prayers are all you're ever going to have as it pertains to doing jack all shit in the ACC. I can tell you that. Dave Doran, start calling you Dave Snoring watching your offense. You know how people watched Dr. Phil back in the day so they could feel good about how shitty their families were? That's what old Macho Wreck does when he watches your offense. Man, not that our offense had problems. We had to MacGyver one together with 5 strips of duct tape and 2 pieces of bubble gum. Boy, I feel a whole lot better about my offense watching yours. Yeah, and maybe your true freshman quarterback might just have a smidge of talent. But he's running up against the Georgia Tech defense, and he's going to learn real quick how not fun football can really be. You might have to bench him. You got another quarterback lined up there? You're coming into the A, too. We don't F around in Atlanta. Unlike your city, Atlanta's a city that people actually want to live in. It's got more than 2 cow pastures and some chopped shiitake mushrooms and cow shit out there. We actually got something to do. We got the College Football Hall of Fame. And just like I disciplined my dog, this Thursday, 7:30 on ESPN, I'm going to roll up a newspaper and smack you right across the nose with it. Because you ain't going bowling. As absolutely awful as Jeff Collins is, your defense is worse, and that's sad. You should just retire. Go watch basketball. Real football fans don't watch basketball, so I don't even know if you're any good in that. We might break our record of 222-0 against you. It ain't even going to be fun to beat up again on you. Maybe just a little bit. And let me tell you something, Buzzsaw. Yeah, Buzzsaw. I came, I saw, I conquered last year. We already clinched a bowl berth, buzzsaw. So there's no reason to make any alliances. There's no reason to make any truces. In the words of Michael Corleone, this Thursday, Buzz, all family business will be settled. All you are is some Johnny-come-lately. Macho Wreck is everything, Georgia Tech. Everything. Your mama was still patting your ass with baby powder, putting you in diapers when I was rooting for Georgia Tech. You just remember that. I've forgotten more about Georgia Tech football than you know. So are you man enough, buzzsaw? Do you got the stones to meet me this Thursday, 7:30 at Bobby Dodd Stadium? And as for the rest of you, come see your boy Macho Wreck. It's gonna be a good time. Oh, yeah.
Be a man, bust off after me. This Thursday, 7:30, bring that you bubble gum box. So you starting the season, fighting the ukulele. That's like beating up on a lady. Pretty shady if you ask me. Pick up someone your own size, bust off. Because Macho Red will expose all your flaws, and there's only one Georgia Tech draw, and held it just square in the jaw. Be a man, buzz off, let's settle this at Bobby Dodd. Be a man, buzz off, Macho Wreck is laying the law. Be a man, buzz off, let's settle this once and for all. Be a man, buzz off, answer the call. Macho Wreck, the professor, buzz off, because I'm taking you to school, fool. Now you're up Shit's Creek without a paddle, looking like Mike Tyson's ass cheeks. You reek of a lesser man, you're not a nerd, you're just a mid-level geek. Yeah, you took on an orange last year, but now you're bared with fear. Staying in the fallout vault, waiting for my all clear. So you starting the season fighting the ukulele. That's like beating up on a lady. Pretty shady if you ask me. Pick up someone your own size, buzz off. Because Macho Wreck will expose all your flaws, and there's only one Georgia Tech draw, and hell hit you square in the jaw. Be a man, buzz off, let's settle this at Bobby Dodd. Be a man, buzz off, Macho Wreck is laying the law. Be a man, buzz off, let's settle this once and for all. Be a man, buzz off, answer the call. Call Macho Wreck, the professor, buzz off, because I'm taking you to school, fool. Now you're up Shit's Creek without a paddle, looking like Mike Tyson's ass cheeks. You reek of a lesser man, you're not a nerd, you're just a mid-level geek. Yeah, you took on an orange last year, but now you're bared with fear. Staying in the fallout vault, waiting for my all clear. You're buried with fear, staying in the fallout vault, waiting for my all clear. Be a man, buzz off, let's settle this at Bobby Dodd. Be a man, buzz off, Macho Wreck is laying the law. Be a man, buzz off, let's settle this once and for all. Be a man, buzz off, answer the call. Call Macho Wreck, the professor, buzz off, because I'm taking you to school, fool. Now you're up Shit's Creek without a paddle, looking like Mike Tyson's ass cheeks. You reek of a lesser man, you're not a nerd, you're just a mid-level geek. Yeah, you took on an orange last year, but now you're bared with fear. Staying in the fallout vault, waiting for my all clear. But now you're buried with fear, staying in the fallout vault, waiting for my all clear.